It's county final day in the capital, and never more have we needed sport as a distraction, particularly in this part of the world which stepped up a level in a wrong sense on Friday at midnight. But it could be worse. We could have no sport at all and nothing to watch and nothing to distract us and nothing to get behind. Even if you're not involved in either of these two clubs, it's still an intriguing tie. It's the Senior B final first up between Cuala and St Finnbarr's. Then later on at 4:30, it's the Senior A final between Cuala and Ballyboden St Enda's. That a clash of champions from the last 2 years. Cuala last year and Ballyboden the year before. Both, interestingly enough, locked on 7 county titles. So the winner today will go to 8. Our first piece of action, though, is the Senior B decider. It is Cuala against St Finnbarr's. Both of these clubs going for doubles and triples, really. Yes, for Cuala, they're going for the B title, they're going for the A title, and they're also going for the Senior B football title next week, or the Senior 2 football title as they call it. For St Finnbarr's, most of their squad involved in the intermediate football team next week, who are also in a final. With me for this one is Dublin and Whitehall Columkill hurler Owen O'Donnell. Owen, whatever about the games and who wins them, it's just great to have them out there today, isn't it? Because there was a time when we didn't have sport, we didn't have the distraction, we didn't have the joy that it brings. And while there's a dark cloud or two over Dublin for all the obvious reasons in the last day or two, we still have this.
Yeah, I think so, Oisin, and for the players playing there and the families of the players, you know, this is a great release for them. They've worked hard all year, and COVID was a massive distraction, but a lot of teams had training programs that they were training by themselves in a home, or when things eased up a bit in their own separate pods. So, you know, this will mean as much to both teams as much as any year, if not more, because I think everyone will remember who won the 2020 championship. I think it's been such an unusual year that it'll be great to have a release and celebration of some sort. So both teams will be massively up for it today.
It's a year that no one will forget, but who will take fonder memories from it? This Cuala team or this St Finnbarr's team? Let's have a look at the teams. We'll start with Cuala. Well, there is some talk that Shane Stapleton mightn't play. He had a mighty game in the semi-final, although he does have a hamstring injury. Andy Power is named at 14, but he's a man marker at times, and he could pick up the likes of Eamon Dillon, who Cuala really need to stop if they're to have any chance. Dermot Mass, also question marks on him and whether or not he will play, so there could be some changes. Evan Hanley, originally from Tipperary, is a real anchor at centre back, and of course Brian Fitzgerald, scorer-in-chief, breezer as they call him. He's pretty decent as well. Nisha Waldron, originally from Kilkenny, will be able to open up the defence if he gets good quality ball. Let's have a look at the St Finnbarr's team. Lars Sweetman in his 20th year as senior goalkeeper. What a servant he has been. Eamon Dillon is a man that they'll try and get on the ball as much as they possibly can. He'll pop up everywhere. He'll change positions. He'll make his own mind up, I think, throughout the game where he needs to be. And I think it's fair to say that if St Finnbarr's are to have any chance on, they need to get him on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely, and Trollier the last day maybe got 3 or 4 points from play, but other players around him stood up, whereas today Finnbarr's are going to need all their firepower to get over the line. Cuala have a lot of strong players there. The last day with Brian Fitzgerald or McGarrett had a very, very strong game, so Cuala will be looking to them players. On the other flip side of things, Jared Dodrell and Glenn Dodrell, the two brothers, had 2 massive performances. Glenn's the kind of player that drops deep and likes to get on loose ball and set up attacks, which would be interesting to see how it plays out today, because Nisha Waldron on the other side played as a third midfielder the last day, so there'll be a number of little battles all over the pitch.
This St Finnbarr's team are very experienced. They've got a nice mix of youth and experience. In fact, many of them played underage for Dublin, so while they maybe don't have the stellar names that Cuala do, they are decent and they're a solid unit, and we saw that in the semi-final.
Yeah, they're a team that works hard, and when looking out onto the pitch here, Finnbarr's are definitely the louder of the team. They look very up for it so far, and you know, knowing a couple of the lads, it means so much to them, and so this is their first team in the club, and having footballers in a final as well. There's been a massive community atmosphere out in Cabra at the moment. We've seen pictures of all the flags and how people supporting and stuff, so it'll mean a massive amount to them to bring it home.
We do appreciate that it's a big day for these two clubs. It's a big day for Dublin Hurling, and it's a pity that the supporters can't be here, but that's the way it is. We are glad that the technology exists, that we can bring the game to you, and we'd love to hear from you, because just because you're not here, it doesn't mean you're not part of the day, and we'd love to hear from you via Twitter. Is probably the best way to get in contact with us, at DubGAA Official. You can also get us on Facebook or Instagram, but as I say, Twitter is the best way to do it. There is a roar out of that St Finnbarr's team. They are up for this, aren't they?
Yeah, and Finnbarra is, the kind of team they are. The more intensity, the more tackles and turnovers in the game, the more it'll bring them to life. They're a really strong physical team, and a dogfight will suit them. Whereas Cuala the last day wanted to play a more hurling game with Kilmacud. They were trying to score points from distance and run the ball a bit more. So it'll be interesting to see whose tactics gets the upper hand here.
Cuala in the red and white, St Finnbarra's in the blue. North side versus south side. Our referee, by the way, is Mark Ryan. And if we see changes, we will tell you about them. Well, Dara Toomey is in from the start for Cuala. Not named in the starting 15. He's over his ankle injury. Johnny Toomey's son, of course. Johnny was a centre-back for Dublin back in the 90s.
I see straight away as well, Trollier's gone in at the edge of the square. So Finnbarra will need to get the ball in. There's no point having a player of Eamon Dillon's calibre there and not getting the ball into him.
And I don't see Shane Stapleton out there, so he does miss out, and that is a big loss. Shane, of course, part of the squads that won 2 AIB All-Ireland Senior Club titles. Dara Toomey loses it first up. It was almost pounced on there by Shane Murphy. Glenn Dodrell, one of the more experienced players. It's going to be launched by Conor Carberry, who's represented Dublin at Celtic Challenge level. And that's quite the start. Good point from Conor Carberry.
Excellent start from Conor Carberry and Glenn Dodrell as well. Two of their key players getting on balls early, and that'll be a great start for them to lift their spirits.
Ryan De Felice, in any other club, he'd be the #1 goalkeeper, but he's been kept out by Sean Brennan at the moment. Owen O'Callaghan, easily intercepted by Adam Riley. The postman delivers it long. Swept up by a red jersey, but they can't keep it in, and Finnbarra's pressure is telling early, granted very, very early.
Yeah, Owen O'Callaghan has gone to wing back. He had a great performance in cornerback the last day, so out to the wing there, and just probably had a slightly more time than he realised to let the ball in there, but he's a key player for Luke and of good stock in the O'Callaghan house.
Launched long by Mark O'Neill, intercepted by a Cuala stick. He couldn't keep it under control though, Carl Schutte, and it's popped over. St Finnbarra's pickpocketing the Cuala defence and slotting over a score.
Good score from Anthony Costello, who's a target man in there in the last game, and it's interesting to see that they're playing in the corner and they're trying that diagonal ball into him again.
The former captain, but still very much the spiritual leader of the team, Costello. Not named to start, but there was a theory going around that he would go in at full forward, and that theory has proved to be correct. I don't think Cuala will be in any way surprised by it. They try and pull one back, but don't. Batted away by the stick of Evan Hanley, who's featured for Tipperary in both football and hurling. Free given away though, and St Finnbarra's will have the chance to add one to their lead.
Finnbarra's very loud and aggressive from the start. That's 2 breaking balls they've won, and Cuala probably just need to get the grips a bit more. That's 2 Cuala players jumping for the 1 breaking ball there, and Trolley just came in and sweeped it up and won his free well.
Are these the things that happen in the early stages of finals that maybe don't happen in other games? You're just that bit more nervy and you make errors that you may not normally.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think after 5 or 10 minutes players should forget about that and just settle into the routine of an ordinary game and try to play themselves into it.
Christopher O'Brien, another one of the St Finnbarra's contingent who has featured at underage for Dublin, slots it over. Coming out to try and meet it there was Andy Power. Ball goes out over the line. It's a Cuala ball.
Brian Fitzgerald's coming out from full forward. He's 11 on his back, but played the semi-final in there on the edge of the square, and he's a really big target man and a lot of hurling, so if Cuala can feed him, he'll score all day.
Plays hurling for Cavan. His connection to that county through marriage. There was a situation a couple of years ago where I think Matty Kenny was handing in a team squad list, and he actually didn't know Brian Fitzgerald's first name because he just always referred to him as Breezer. So he was in the official squad list as Breezer. That happens so often. I mean, how many times have you gone to friends' weddings and you hear their full name for the first time? Breezer or Brian, whatever you want to call him yourself, hits it wide, unfortunately, for Cuala.
Yeah, Cuala sideline very unhappy about that. They seem to be saying it was over, but the ref waves it wide.
So tight are the restrictions, and they will stick to them here in Parnell Park. We know that that the B squad can't actually stay and watch the A squad later on.
No, and it is a pity because they're going to be a quick turnaround with celebrations or whatever, and you know, a big part of winning is celebrating with your family and friends on the pitch after the game. So a small aspect, but I'm sure everyone will meet up in their groups later and celebrate it whatever way they can.
This keeper has some puck of a ball. He blasted home a penalty in the semi-final, but he can strike them from long range as well. There have been games where he scored 3 or 4 from inside of his own half from frees. Does the Nash style step up? It's another wide for Cuala.
Yeah, and
2 wides now.
Fionnbarra's just in control at the moment. They're the louder team and the more aggressive. They're trying to implement their style of game. So I wouldn't be panicking yet if I was Cuala. There's a lot of hurling to be played, and they will settle themselves into it.
Comes off the stick of Eoin O'Callaghan. It is cleared though. Completely isolated is Naomh Waldron, but he does take it, much to his credit. Waldron lets it go and gets a much needed score. Naomh Waldron, who has hurled for Derry in the past, where his grandfather is from, but he himself is from Kilkenny.
Yeah, Naomh probably was the difference between the two teams in the semi-final. The last day was kind of in the corner and wasn't massively involved, but came out as a third midfielder and had a really good game. And he just brings that experience, and he's played at such a high level that, you know, he's a big leader for Cuala up front there. Dara
Toomey tries to shovel it up into the hand. Spills out into the path of Justin Byrne. Real scramble here, and it's a blue jersey that wins it. Jordan Fitzsimons. Let go by Glenn Dodrell. Bounces kindly for the Cuala defence, and jogging back to mind it is Hanley. That's a good stick pass to Carl Schutte. Who's going to get their first, red or blue? It is red, but they don't manage to take it up. Brian Fitzgerald has an option outside. Breezer is the shout from Naomh Waldron. Waldron's already got one. Has he got an eye for goal here? He's got an eye for a player who's got an eye for goal and an angle for goal, but somehow he touched it over the crossbar. If you were trying to do it, you nearly couldn't. He was going for goal, no doubt about that, but it's better than nothing. Andy Power got his stick to it. Cuala narrowed the gap to 1. Yeah, it really should have been a goal. Just if you'd taken a small bit more concentration on it, and he probably thought, oh, it was a matter of getting a touch of his hurling, it would go into the back of the net and just spooned it over. But you know, Cuala happy with the point, but disappointed not there to get a goal. They don't come around chances like that too often. Sweetman goes long. What a catch! Brilliant catch from Anthony Costello. Out it goes to Brooke Owens. Brooke Owens guides it over. That's a really fine score. Excellent stuff from Brooke Owens. Really good score from the two of them there. They're working well, and you know, Trollier and the lads haven't even come into the game yet as such, and Fionnbarra's in control so far. There's only 2 points between the teams, but Fionnbarra's looking very aggressive under dirty balls and ruck balls. Brooke Owens shaking off an injury issue that he had earlier in the season. Glenn Dodrell wins it and gets the free. The breeze is kind of swirly, isn't it? You're probably playing into the car park end. Don't think there's a massive factor, but whatever wind there is there, that Fionnbarra's have it at the moment. Ger Dodrell, we've seen him score long rangers, not quite this long. That's going to cause an issue for Cuala because it's going to drop inside the square. What a hand. I think that might be Costello. Costello! Oh, what a finish! Quality goal. Absolutely brilliant goal. And the thing is, Anthony Costello ran 5 or 10 yards there to get under the high ball. He wasn't even standing under it. Really, really excellent goal. Well, when you have Dillon and Costello in there, you really are distracting the defence, because if it was just one, if it was just Dillon, you'd say, okay, it'll be all eyes on him. But Costello's in there. He has a mighty hand, as we just saw. He hasn't got a bad puck of a ball either. That was a lovely finish. This is a shot from an angle which will be difficult for the goalkeeper, but in fairness to Ryan DeFelice, he handles it well. Schutte away. It has been the best possible start for St Finbarr's, but they have given away a free.
Having a forward that can win their own ball and their own primary possession is just invaluable to a team that was a 50-50 ball at best. Probably you'd say that was a defender's ball all day long, and Anthony Costello made the run to get across and win ball. And it's big plays like that win finals. So Anthony Costello started really, really well so far.
Well, we were saying earlier on that while he's not the captain this year, he is still a real leader. He's the spiritual leader of this team, as I was told earlier on by someone from St Finbarr's. Manages to draw that one back in, and it's a good score from Brian Fitzgerald, and a necessary one for Cuala.
Yeah, that'll settle themselves down now just to keep the scoreboard ticking over. It's interesting to see how deep Oran McGarrett is sitting. He was one of the key players up front for Cuala the last day, but is now in his own half-back line. Part
of that Collushta own team that beat St Kieran's earlier in the year. Clash of the Ash, ball falls luckily for Jay Rowe. Rowe can't get it up into the hand, tries to guide it to Conor Carberry. On the chase after it now is Eamon Dillon. There's only going to be one winner in a foot race with Dillon. Goes to ground under pressure from Lahart, pops back up. Manages somehow to not give it away. That was lovely play. Can Dodrell finish it? No, great defending there. Charlie are just looking for the free, and ref is having none of it, but recycle the ball well. And Glenn is a quality player, and you want Finbarr's will want him on the ball as much as possible. And they've amassed 1-4 without him scoring any of them, which is a pretty impressive feat. Millen, who I think is one of the only players starting today who isn't involved in the football next week, but he has given away the free. Yeah, not massively sure there what the free was for. I think the ref said he was using his arm to try to get in and out, but I didn't see much wrong with that. Well, when you're in close contact like that, you're not going to not use your arm. It's just a matter of how it's interpreted, I suppose. No, it was an unusual one, and normally the benefit of the doubt is given to whoever has the ball. Have we ever sounded more like two cheating corner forwards in our lives? Corner backs, I should say. Corner backs. You, of course, at a slightly higher level than I own, but we're all the same, I think, in that regard. I think all cornerback stock is all the same mentality. Yeah. My junior F team, by the way, in action this afternoon in the semi-final. Best of luck to them. Brian Fitzgerald. Sticks it wide. That's the third place ball now that Cuala have missed, and they're the kind of things that have to go right for you on final days. That finals normally come down with a point, 2 points, 3 points, and they have to be going over. Dodrell, Cuala under pressure. Slots it down the line for Costello. Goes to ground but no free. Now he gets the free. Excellent ball from Jay Dodrell there to composure, to come out of defence, to evade the tackle and pick out a pass like that, and then Aaron Costello does well to buy the free. So Finbarr's will be happy with this. They'll just keep the scoreboard ticking over, and the water break coming up now at the 15-minute mark will be very happy, the managers for Finbarr's. Well, they won't be too happy if Costello can't play on. He will try his best, no doubt about that. It has been an unusual build-up to the county final. There has been a buzz around all the clubs involved, but the fact that fans can't go, it does take away from it a little bit, but these players are absolutely giving it everything, and I know that you'd rather be here to see that rather than watching it on the TV, but I can tell you when I look around off camera, players are doing what they normally do, kind of jogging around, giving each other encouragement. The noise coming from each of the benches as well is fairly phenomenal. I know you can hear it slightly, but we can really hear it here, and I can tell you that both benches are really encouraging their teams, and that's necessary when you don't have a crowd, isn't it? Yeah, and this is the biggest game for the players out there. Most players, this is going to be their last game for the 2020 year, so they want to finish on a high. And these teams have trained very hard, and it's been such an unusual year with COVID and lockdown and different regulations and guidelines. So winning this will be a great distraction from all the hassle that's been going on. Well, the good news is Costello will play on. And the better news is that O'Brien has scored. St Finbarr is going for another title at this grade. Their last came in 2016, their last before that 2011. Niall Brady, who's in charge today, was in charge in 2016 as well. Felice. Trying to run onto it is Justin Byrne, who was part of the panel for at least one of those All-Irelands. He ran out of room there.
No, while Finnbarrs are winning, I still think they have another gear to go. Key players like Jair's kind of come in the last few minutes, but Trollier and Glenn probably been quiet. Christopher O'Brien from play has probably been quiet enough. So if Finnbarrs can get these players into the game, they'll be looking to push on their lead now by 5 or 6.
It is relatively chilly in Parnell Park, but the sun is making an attempt to come out. Christopher O'Brien with a snapshot. Oh, snap, indeed. That was fantastic.
You must have heard me mention him there. That was a quality score there to catch the ball and the speed that he strikes it off then. It was really, really top class score.
Coming up to the water break, and I think Cuala will be more glad of it than St. Finnbarrs, and St. Finnbarrs win another free. They're very much on top physically here, aren't they?
And this is where the momentum now will start to kill Cuala. You see teams these days going down with a contact lens with the keeper or an injury or something, just trying to stop the momentum. So Cuala will be looking forward to the minute break now to try settle themselves and play themselves back into the game.
They really need that break. Christopher O'Brien, this is a long way out, but he'll still fancy it. And of course their goal came from a dropping ball into the square. Will they be able to get another one? It's flicked on, but goes away from goal. St. Finnbarrs trying to make it stick though. Eamon Dillon throws himself in and was a little bit clumsy with how he used his shoulder, and the free out is given. Patted away by Dodrell into the path of Christopher O'Brien. Back out to Dodrell. Glenn Dodrell gets held up. Costello's trying to get under it again. It's a good break for St. Finnbarrs. And it's a good score for Conor Carberry, his second of the game.
Yeah, Finnbarrs just winning them breaking ball and the dirty ball, so that's probably what's paying dividends so far. Going into the break now, Cuala are really going to have to try to go back to how they played in the semi-final. It'd be interesting to see if Naomh Waldron comes back out around the middle, because that's where he did damage the last day. Fitzgerald's probably in the edge of the square. They haven't targeted him at all. They haven't put the ball in on him, and so this isn't probably how Cuala played the last day. So they really need to revert back to their winning ways and their winning tactics.
Well, let's have a look at some of the highlights of the game so far at the end of the first quarter, if we're allowed to say that in a GAA sense, but the game now is broken into quarters essentially with the water breaks. Mark O'Neill launching this one in. The high ball has caused issues for Cuala so far. And Costello, that would not be his only impact on this game so far, guiding that one over well. Christopher O'Brien has played really well. 2 from frees, 1 from play. Naomh Waldron getting a good score for Cuala, a rare good moment for them so far. Brian Fitzgerald really calmly slotting it to Waldron, and this was a big moment because this probably should have been a goal, but they had to settle for a point. Andy Power touching it over. Costello again causing issues, and Brooke Owens from a tight angle putting it over. That is not an easy score to get. Dodrell launched this one. Costello got under it and finished it well. Maybe some suspicion that he took too many steps, but he won't care. And that is the story of the game so far, but there is a long way to go. 7 between them as we restart for the second quarter of the first half.
Yeah, and 7 in a hurling game really isn't an awful lot with this long left to play. So if Cuala can kind of get a few scores on the board early here now and play themselves in towards half time, they won't be in a too bad position. Launched
long by De Felice. Waldron went up for it, but it falls kindly there for Shane Murphy. Chopped there from the defender, and it's a free into Cuala. Again, Brian Fitzgerald causing issues. When he's not getting clean ball, he is at the very least occasionally winning frees.
Yeah, Tommy O'Neill tried to do the right thing, get out in front. Just when the ref hears that hurl contact like that, he's going to give a free. So just unfortunate, but if a fullback can try to get out in front like that, 9 out of 10 times will come off the better.
And Fitzgerald slots that one over as you would expect. Shane Stapleton has come in. As we say, he's had an issue with his hamstring, probably would have started otherwise, but Cuala feel they need to shore things up at the back a bit. It's tough on the player who has to go off just 18 and a bit minutes into a county final.
Yeah, things coming into Mark Anthony Costello, and Shane probably a bit more physically aggressive and strong in the air, so that's a match that Cuala are looking to more even up.
Yeah, the two of them not blessed with pace. They're similar in attributes in that sense.
No, but been very effective so far. You know, they're playing to their strengths, and Anthony Costello standing under the high ball, and a quality goal he got in the first 15. So it'll be a good match between the two of them now.
Justin Byrne looks for Brian Fitzgerald, batted away by Tommy O'Neill. Looks like he was holding the hurley, and it's a free in for Cuala. Cuala getting back into it after the water break, and as we say, the water break can be good and the water break can be bad, and for Cuala it was good, and they got the chance to reset a bit.
Yeah, now if once they put this over now, which Brian Fitzgerald will hopefully do, that'll be 2 points in a row, and they can build momentum onto that. It's interesting in some teams they say that 4 points is a momentum swing, so 2 so far, and if they can get another couple of scores, they'll be going well.
Fitzgerald scores in the main is what is keeping Cuala in it. Granted, there is a long way to go. 6 points, nothing in a hurling match.
No, and both teams still have key players to come into the game. On the Cuala side, Oran McGarrett hasn't massively played well so far. Nisha Waldron hasn't been massively in the game, and then obviously Trollier and Glenn Dodrell probably on the Fionnbarra side have yet to kick to life, so there's still a long way to play in this game.
Yeah, they need to get Waldron into it more. He's had 2 possessions and he's already created a goal chance and got a point. Brian Fitzgerald gets his 3rd point from a free.
Yeah, you can see with Nisha Waldron, whenever he gets the ball, he's dangerous, and he's kind of operating at a higher level, so just need to keep him involved in the game.
Dylan goes up for it, collects it at pace and wins the free. Cuala, as you can see, not happy.
Yeah, really good play by Trollier there. Won his own breaking ball and just aggressive, takes him on, and probably just slightly into the chest of Trollier there, but unlucky.
The free will be taken by Christopher O'Brien. Seven points of a difference between these two going into the water break. That difference is now only 5. Cuala did hit 3 wides before that. If they can get their accuracy right, they'll be okay. And that's a good shot from Christopher O'Brien. Nothing wrong with his accuracy. 3 from frees and 1 from play.
No, and Cuala did miss threes in the first 15 minutes, and them 3 points will put them in a very good position now if they'd converted them. And on the flip side, the Fionnbarras aren't putting any of their place balls wide.
And the decision goes Fionnbarra's way.
Yeah, and discipline probably just starting to slip now. There's been a lot of frees here in this last few minutes, so if you get a free at this level from your 45, you're going to be punished, and Fionnbarras are going to have to watch that.
Fionnbarras with a bit of running repairs. We appreciate this is a massive day for the clubs involved, and unfortunately the fans can't be here. The family, the friends of the players, and you'd love to be here. And I think Owen and I and all the team here get how honoured we are and how lucky we are to actually be at the game, and it's an honour that is not lost on us. Brian Fitzgerald slots it over. 4 frees for him. Sweetman looking for Dylan. Dylan does get his hurley to it, but he's swarmed upon. Good pick up by Shane Murphy. Gets it away to Donal Lane. Shane Stapleton, his first possession. He's after finding Nisha Waldron. 2 men who were part of those All-Ireland winning squads. Shane Murphy takes off. Good ball into Brian Fitzgerald. Running ahead of him was Andy Power. Spill, brilliant work from Tommy O'Neill. Dodrell. His brother Glenn does get there. Could have gone backwards, but chooses to run it himself. Now he has to go off the stick. Costello up against Shane Stapleton. Stapleton follows him all the way. That's a really good take under pressure from Glenn Dodrell. And an excellent pass. Oh, it's just let slip out of the hand. But Conor Carberry is not giving up on it. Good ball back out to Christopher O'Brien. Thought about shooting, instead goes backwards to a man in open space. That man is Ger Dodrell. And I was about to say he can score from those types of positions, but he didn't catch his shot right.
No, and Ger would be disappointed with that. Normally he'd a long range shooter, he'd be very good at it and effective, but Finnbarras are moving the ball around very well. They're trying to find the man in the free position, and Ger Dodrell's doing a lot of work there at the back finding passes.
Fitzgerald spills it, but he has the free. Cuala are kind of frustrated because Oran McGarrett had the possibility of picking it up and maybe getting a shot away, but they'll settle for the free.
Yeah,
well, they'll have to settle.
The frees will keep them ticking over anyway. Cuala probably in the last 15 minutes have been the better team and have pulled back the 7 point at the first water break. So both teams still probably not this game hasn't sprung to life as we imagined it would. Been kind of scrappy and a lot of frees so far. So I don't know, maybe the ref a bit trigger happy on the whistle, but teams need to realise that and start to improve their discipline.
Referee giving a yellow card to Tommy O'Neill for being a bit loose with the hurley. First yellow card of the game, I think. Yep. Fitzgerald, as you would expect, just taps it over. 5 for him now from frees. And despite being dominated for the first 15 minutes, Cuala only 4 down. And as we mentioned there, they did have chances within that 15 minutes. Should have had a goal. Instead they had to settle for a point from that particular chance, and they had 3 wides as well. So Riley, bit too much on that. De Felice takes it and bats it out to Dara Toomey. Toomey long down the wing, plenty of blue waiting under it. Waldron couldn't take it, but running onto it now is Justin Byrne. Brian Fitzgerald is ahead of him. Justin Byrne trying to get into space, just ambushed and overcrowded and couldn't get the pass away. Here's Mark O'Neill. Brooke Owens beaten to it. Here's Donal Lane. Passed it back into heavy traffic, but Cuala, much to their credit, might actually win it here. Oh, commentator's curse. Adam Riley, Jordan Fitzsimons, Lara Sweetman.
I can see Charlie just underneath us here getting a bit frustrated. He was in a one-on-one there, and Lars Sweetman, who's been playing very well, put it over the far side where Cuala had the numbers, and Cuala getting massive energy from winning these breaks.
Well, in those breaks in the early part of the game, they were giving away frees. Now they're getting the frees.
Yeah, and since the water break, it just shows how effective this water break can be for managers to address their team. That Cuala have been a completely different team in this last 15 minutes.
De Felice, who I think is against the breeze, and it is fairly stiff, so this could drop. Plenty of height on that one. It is going to drop, and it goes into the net, I think. Or was there a square ball?
Square ball.
Square ball.
It was a some strike now from Ryan, but sometimes you think you're better off playing the ball into the corner there and trying to get lads into the game a bit.
Dodrell, who won a few championships with the club underage. All the scores since the water break coming from frees. 4 for Cuala, 1 for St. Finnbarras. Shane Murphy, Waldron, Fitzsimon's one of the many dual players dispossessing him, and it's a free to St Finnbarr's.
Yeah, Jordan Fitzsimon's just with a neck injury here. He seemed to get head collide with Owen O'Callaghan's body, but Jordan's playing really well. He had a great dispossession there a few minutes ago, running on a goal. He took his time, didn't give away the field, and turned over the ball. So Finnbarr's doing well so far. I have to say I'm impressed with their use of ball. They're trying to find the open man every time, and they're trying to pick passes and work the ball in.
Yellow card for Owen O'Callaghan.
Yeah, harsh yellow, probably was a free, but Owen was just standing his ground, and Jordan maybe a slight push in the back, just collided with him, but harsh yellow to get.
Well, from the neutral point of view, this has been very enjoyable. Christopher O'Brien looking for a second score from a free since the water break for St Finnbarr's. That's going to drop. Dillon has it. Can he get a strike away? He can! It somehow has crept in. Eamon Dillon hasn't been on the ball a whole lot, but when he does get ball, he is dangerous. And right there, he got a beautiful goal.
He's so clinical. I think maybe it might even be his second ball in his hand in the whole game. Just wins his own ball, takes a shot, a great goal. So that'll give Finnbarr's huge energy going forward. A really, really top class forward.
14-7, 7 between them. On the run is Jack Toomey. Cuala won't panic. Brian Fitzgerald, over is the shout of Brian Fitzgerald, and that's exactly what he does do.
Yeah, and both goals very similar for Finnbarr's. Two high balls coming in, and both forwards winning the ball clean, running to that left side of the goal and taking a strike. So Cuala probably need to be more strong in them 50-50 balls that come in around the square.
6 between them. Sweetman has a look up. Collected by Dara Toomey. Long from Donal Lane. Can McGarrett get there? We haven't seen a whole pile of him yet. He's policed heavily by Millen. And it's a Finnbarr's ball. No, it's a Cuala ball. I beg your pardon. Nisha Waldron will take it. Waldron going for it, but not getting it.
No, and it's a great skill, sideline cutting when they go over. It's spectacular, but like you hear so many times they go wide or they drop short more often than not, and maybe you might be better trying to find a pass, and like I said earlier, try to get players into the game. That Orr McGarrett has been quiet, and if you tried a quick short ball from the sideline might be better.
Line ball to Cuala. Christopher O'Brien doesn't agree.
And Nish will have a second chance now, prove me wrong.
Cuala sending players forward because it could drop, and maybe that's the aim. Finnbarr's do have an extra man in the square at the moment. Fitzgerald tries to bring it down to himself. Now it's Justin Byrne. Byrne doesn't have the room to get the shot away. Does manage to get it to Shane Murphy. Murphy wins the free in. It's a good response from Cuala to the goal.
Yeah, good response, and this might narrow the deficit down to 5, but for all the improvement we said of Cuala in the second 15 minutes, they're still not far off the 7-score deficit that they were at the first 15 minutes, and relatively soft free.
When this goes over though, and I presume it will, it means that Cuala will have scored the last 2 since Finnbarr's goal.
Yeah, and like you said, that is a good response, and you know, once the Finnbarr goal goes in, you can hear the loudness of Finnbarr's, their sideline, their subs, bench shouting and roaring. So really good response from Cuala to get the next 2 scores.
6 from frees for Brian Fitzgerald. That's the final puck of the half. 2-8 St Finnbarr's, Naomh Fionnbarra. Cuala 9 points. That is the half-time score. Owen, what have you made of it so far?
Yes, but a scrappy enough game so far. I think both teams have probably had a pretty final match nerves. Hopefully now in the second half they'll go out and try to express themselves more freely. But I think it's probably a case where both teams have key players yet to get into the game, and if both teams can get them key players like Orr McGarrett, Trollier, Brian Fitzgerald into the game in the second half, then it can really spark to life.
Just looking at some of the highlights of the first half here. Costello with the goal for St Finnbarra's. The first of two for Finnbarra's. No prizes for guessing who got the other one, but they've all played well. Everyone has stood up. Christopher O'Brien slotting that one over. That was probably the score of the half, outside of the goals maybe.
Yeah, the quickness there to get the ball from hand and over the bar from 40-50 yards there really can't be understated. Really, really top class score.
Glenn Dodrell launched this one inside. It did end well. It came out to Carberry, who scored the second of his two. Brian Fitzgerald has done well for Cuala though. He's kept them in it with frees, and he scored, I think it's 6 in all and 1 from play. Fullback Tommy O'Neill trying to get rid of the ball there, but giving the free away to Brian Fitzgerald, who's proving a handful. But Christopher O'Brien has played well as well from frees and play, and that was another one for his collection. Niall Brady and the Finnbarra's management watching on, including Shane Langan, as the ball was slotted over by Fitzgerald. Nisha Waldron, he's been decent at times. This was a good stick pass, and this is frustrating for Cuala because they were almost in on goal. They wanted the advantage to go on a little bit longer, but it can only go on for so long. Fitzgerald slotting over the free. So even when they're winning frees, they are getting something from them, which is good. To Felice, this, I don't think it's a controversial moment because I don't think there was any doubt that this was a square ball, even though it was touched in from Andy Power, who had to settle for a point from a goal chance earlier in the half. Jordan Fitzsimons winning the ball well there. O'Callaghan getting a yellow card for his trouble for this tackle. I think it was a tad harsh. Christopher O'Brien dropping it in there. Dylan catching it, and Dylan blasting it home. I think the keeper was unlucky. Bravely threw his body at it, but just couldn't keep it out.
Yeah, Ryan was unlucky there on second time viewing. You know, the keeper, if they get their body or hurl to it at all, is good going, and just unfortunate that the ball spilled into that corner. There wasn't a lot of room there.
Waldron unlucky with this line ball. Great when they go over. When they don't, they don't. And that was a really good one from Waldron. He knew exactly where he was putting that one. Justin Byrne away to Shane Murphy. Murphy was fouled, or maybe the foul was on Byrne, but either way the free was coming. Finnbarra's frustrated. Fitzgerald kept his cool and tapped it over. And that is the story of the first half. The first half of the Dublin Senior B hurling final. Coming up later, by the way, it's the Senior A decider between Cuala and Ballyboden. Ballyboden going for a Senior A stroke Senior 1 double. They want to win the top grade of football. They're in the final next week, of course, against Ballymun Kickham's. Today they're in the hurling final against Cuala. Cuala going for a lot of trophies as well, because their Senior 2 footballers are in action next week in the final. Of course, they're B hurlers and A hurlers in both finals today. So can they tick the first box and complete the first part of a potential treble? We'll find out over the next half an hour or so, but they have a bit of work to do against St Finnbarra's, who are also going for trophies on a few fronts, because next week their intermediate footballers are in the final. At the moment, the concentration on the hurling, it is the B final, it is half time, it is St Finnbarra's 2-8, Cuala 9 points. We'll be back shortly with the second half. The picture will stay, the sound will go for a second. If you want to say hello to us, or if you want to send a message to someone else who's watching, or if you want to say something about the teams, by all means you can do so on at DubGAA official. That's where you'll find us on Twitter. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, but you're probably best off to find us via Twitter. For the moment, we'll leave you with the halftime score of St Finnbarra's 2-8, Cuala 9 points. We're back for the second half of the Dublin Senior B Championship final between Cuala and St Finbarr's Naomh Fionnbarra. And Cuala have a bit of work to do. Owen O'Donnell in the second half, they trailed 2-8 to 9 points.
Yeah, they do, but you know it's still early days. Whatever slight bit of win there is behind Cuala's backs now. So if they can revert to how they played in the semi-final and get lads like Nisha on the ball and Brian Fitzgerald's more involved in play, and Orr McGarrett, and you know lads like these are top quality players, so wouldn't be too far of a stretch of the imagination to see Cuala pulling back here.
Already a big battle, and a battle won by St Finbarr's.
Yeah, really well done by Jay Rowe to get in, win the dirty ruck and come out when he's free, and a chance for Finbarr's to get a good start.
O'Brien, plenty of legs on it, but not the accuracy. That breeze is making it awkward. Falling onto it was McGarrett. Couldn't find a fellow red. Millen intercepts. Millen pounced upon. Toomey takes it. Looked accidental enough from here.
Yeah, it probably was an accident to be fair to him, but just caught him in the face guard, and probably rightly so, a free in. Yeah, I don't think Dylan Curley meant anything malicious, just caught him a slightly frontal.
Yellow card. His brother Ryan in Australia at the moment. He might have been playing had he been here. Dylan getting over a foot injury that he had, so it's good to see him out there.
Yeah, Ryan is a really good player that's played for Dublin Minors and under-21s team, so definitely would have been playing here today if he wasn't off sunning himself on a beach somewhere.
There's actually a couple of players involved today who might not have been here only for COVID. It interrupted their plans. Fitzgerald, that's a really beautiful strike.
Yeah, and then the gap just narrows that small bit more, and just 2 point swing there that Finbarr's missed their chance and Cuala convert, and these are the 50-50 things that turn finals.
Well, Cuala scored 6 points after the water break in the second half, including 5 frees from Brian Fitzgerald. He has been electric for them so far, and I'm not sure if he'll take this or will it be the goalkeeper. It will be the goalkeeper, but they've had a bright enough start to the second half. They responded well when St Finbarr's got that goal, the second goal in the second half. They scored 2 points.
Yeah, with the wind behind him, Ryan probably doesn't need to put as much power into the frees as he has been putting, so if he takes a small bit off, he should have the accuracy.
Felice, he's going for it, there's no doubt about that. Comes off the woodwork and unluckily bounces wide. You could see McCarroll just for a split second ready to react, but it went the wrong side of the line from his point of view.
Yeah, and that's 0 from 3 unfortunately from them long range frees, so it might be time to change tactic and try putting the ball into the corner.
Collected by O'Brien. Chips it over wonderfully well.
Really good score, and again the speed that Christopher O'Brien is getting the ball from into his hand and then straight over the bar. Really, really good score.
Bit of a coming together there between Andy Power and not quite sure which of the Finbarr's players it was. Might have been Ger Dodrell. We'll go back for the puck out. Well collected by Fitzsimons. Push in the back and a free out. Crossfielder. Nice run onto it as well. Beautifully tidy stick pass to Ger Dodrell. Didn't catch it right. Or did he? He did!
Yeah, he probably didn't catch it right, you're right, but just had enough legs to sneak over. Probably one of the scores of the day there. That the pass from Christopher O'Brien into the running angle of Ger was a really good pass and really good score.
By the way, extra time if required today. Eamon Dillon, we did say he'd pop up wherever he was needed, whether that was in the forwards or the backs. Here's Nisha Waldron. Beautiful control from Waldron. O'Callaghan keeps it under his spell. Here's Niall Keane, who's originally from County Clare. And he strikes that one wide. The man originally from Ballyea.
That was a good play. O'Callaghan did well to win the dirty ball there and get a good pass off. And Niall Keane probably just had slightly more time than he realised, but a good effort.
He was in the Cuala squad when they met Ballyea in the All-Ireland final. Great catch by Shane Stapleton, whose brother Paddy was in the Bursalese team that played in the All-Ireland club final last season against Ballyhale. He overcarried that. He's arguing with the referee, Mark Ryan, but the ref won't change his mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what, sometimes you actually would get away with that, because you're given a bit of grace when you're trying to get away from players and there's a tangle, so maybe he can consider himself unlucky.
Yeah, probably maybe with the letter of the law, maybe a free, but normally you get the benefit of the doubt when you're getting a tackle, and you might get away with 6 or 7 there, so you've seen them let go probably more often than not.
We mentioned his brother Paddy, who won an All-Ireland with Tipperary, and as we say, a Munster with Bursley last season. Shane, part of that senior A team with Cuala that won 2 All-Irelands. Christopher O'Brien was given the chance, and boy has he taken it yet again.
Yeah,
the momentum still with Fionnbarra's, isn't it?
Yeah, it's back to that 7-point lead, and Cuala just struggling to trim it down any more than that.
Trying to get there is Dylan Curley. Bats it down beautifully into the path of his teammate. Intercepted by Lane. Good block down by Brooke Owens. Brooke Owens, the Irish language officer of Naomh Fionnbarra. Of course, there is a Gael Skull located on the club grounds.
You can hear the film. One of the interesting things about not having a crowd is you can hear a lot more communication from the players and what they're trying to do, and all the shouts from the Fionnbarra players are to let the ball in early.
Well, they may well be champions of Dublin at senior B grade after this evening, but even if they're not, they'll still hold the award of the loudest club in Dublin, I think. De Felice misses.
No.
Sorry, I've confused, by the way, Brooke with Bradley Owens. Bradley is the Irish language officer.
Right. I think just not to, at the fear of repeating myself, that's 0 from 4 now from them long range frees, and I think Cuala really need to start try playing the ball, especially when they have a target man like Brian Fitzgerald in there.
Sweetman goes long. Collected by Shane Murphy. This one not done yet. Comes into the path of Carberry. Carberry with the eye for goal. Decides to try and sweep it over, but couldn't get the connection on it that he wanted.
No, probably was just aware that the back coming in there trying to get the hook on him and change his strike slightly, but would be disappointed not to add to his tally. He's got 2 good points so far.
Cuala with 3 wide so far in the second half, and Fionnbarra's with 2. They're in behind though. Costello going for his second goal, pulls on the ground, good save for the goalkeeper, although it was easy for him, for a guy of his standards. At a nice height.
Yeah.
How big a moment will that be? Fitzgerald tries to get it into the hand and doesn't. Fitzsimons throws it and it's a free into Cuala. So Cuala will get a point when maybe they could have conceded a goal. From Costello's point of view, I know the temptation was to pull on it, but could he have got that one into the hand?
Probably. Hindsight is a great thing. If it went in there, we'd be all saying he did the right thing, but probably had slightly more time to get the ball into the hand, and someone of his strength, that even if someone came into contact with him, he'd still have the strength to move past him. So disappointed not to add a second goal to his collection there.
And in fairness to De Felice, he actually controlled it well, so it was a good save in a sense that he didn't just bat it away blindly, he actually controlled it. Ball slotted over by Brian Fitzgerald. And the score could just as easily have been 3-11 to 10 points, but instead it's 2-11 to 11 points. And on such things, games can change. Dylan. Free goes against them for over-carrying. Well, they got one in their favour a couple of minutes ago with Shane Stapleton. They get one against now.
Yeah, at least the ref, Mark Ryan's been consistent on them. I'd probably argue again that you should get the benefit of the doubt if you're getting tackled there, but he's given up both ways, so that's all you can ask. Was once a ref has been consistent, both teams can tailor their play. It's when refs are making calls for one team and not the other is when you start giving out, but he's been consistent so far.
That's true. Brian Fitzgerald. They keep it alive. Trying to dig it out is Justin Byrne. Free in for Cuala. It's been a profitable couple of minutes for them.
Yeah, Justin Byrne did well to keep the ball in there. It was going wide and just got a flick on it to keep it in play, and then they won the free, so another chance to narrow the scoreline now.
Fitzgerald puts that one over. They do train together, the Cuala Senior Bs and the Cuala Senior As, so they will be quite sharp. When you're coming up against the best hurlers in the county on a regular basis, you are going to be sharp. And of course, many of these Cuala players could be playing Senior A. Now, I don't know why they are or aren't. Maybe they themselves decided that they wanted to go down the B route to get game time, or there could be any kind of reasons, but there wouldn't be much between a lot of the players in this squad and a lot of the players in the Senior A squad. And Finnbarra's win a free. Good work from J. Rowe.
A lot of advantages to having an A and B team train together. I know from my own club, Whitehall, we can struggle for numbers, and Finnbarra's is the same. And like you mentioned earlier, that a lot of the Finnbarra players are involved in the football this week. So, on a football week, it can be tough to keep the momentum going in a hurling camp. So Cuala that they train their A and B teams together ensures that they have numbers all the time, which creates a good atmosphere training and lets you do drills and play matches, which you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do.
And that's what players love to do. They don't like small games of backs and forwards or those drills where you really have to work hard. They like playing games.
Yeah, like the word coming from Kilkenny for years and years is the emphasis they place on their in-house game, that they'll come in on a Tuesday night, do a small bit of a warm-up and then just throw the ball in, and Brian Cody will hardly blow his whistle for the whole duration of the session, and just lash at each other for a match, and that's really evidence enough for anyone else in the country looking what to do.
Off camera, Christopher O'Brien is receiving a bit of treatment. He has been immense so far. He's putting the helmet back on. He will try and drive on. And it is O'Brien himself who'll take a free. This is summer season for club, which is kind of unusual, but there is a nip in the air today. The ball's still travelling cleanly though when you strike it, as Christopher O'Brien did there, and they lead again by 6. Curley puts his hurley out, can't quite get it. Driving on now, I think, is Toomey, who's fouled.
Yeah, I think the amount of frees is probably just isn't letting the game flow as much as we'd like to. I think the majority, you might have the stats somewhere along there, but the majority of scores here come from frees, and it's kind of adding to a very stop-start game.
Yesterday, Naomh Fionnbarra and St. Bridget's winning titles in the junior and intermediate grades. Who's going to join them in Senior A and Senior B today? Brian Fitzgerald knocks it over. It will end today, by the way. In this most unusual of seasons, there will be extra time and penalties if required. Tommy O'Neill was cool under pressure there. Here's Adam Millen. That's a really, really good catch. Has to go off the stick now. Aaron Costello did well. Away it goes from Millen. That's a really neat turn. Brooke Owens tried to find Costello. Dylan Curley is chasing after it. He's going to be beaten to it by Shane Murphy. Goes loose. Now it's swept up by Evan Hanley. Donal Lane. Lane is fouled.
Fionnbarra's unlucky not to get a score there. Really, really good movement. And like I said in the first half, Fionnbarra's are really moving the ball around well. They're trying to find the man in good position and with time to strike into the forward line, and really good play there. And unfortunately, Anthony Costello just maybe collided in the back a small bit to give Cuala the free out.
Mark Ryan, the referee, is calling one of the Finnbarr's players out. I think it might be Ger Dodrell. One of the stalwarts of this group of players, Ger Dodrell, scored a point earlier on.
Yeah, Ger is one of the best club players around. He's so consistent, and he's a presence there in the backs in terms of defending, but there's also a scoring threat, and there's a launching platform for them. Every time I've seen Finnbarr's play, Ger has been one of their standout performances.
So 5 between them. And I do wonder, will he just go through the water break now, because we haven't had that yet in the second half. Well, the linesman came in to have a word, so I wonder, will there be another card distributed here? Jack Toomey is being spoken to by the referee. And gets a yellow card.
I didn't see what that was for now. Must have been something off the ball, but a yellow card, so there must have been a whole lot to it.
And his business is not done yet, the referee, because he's gone in to have a look and have a chat with the linesman or the umpires.
It's been a clean game so far. Wishing there hasn't been any dirty strokes or anything malicious at all. It's been a good game of hurling.
The Senior A final coming up at 4:30. Ballyboden taking on Cuala. Can Ballyboden become the first team since St Vincent's to win the doublet in Dublin at the top grade? We won't get the answer to that today. Another yellow card. This time it's for Christopher O'Brien. I think it's for Christopher O'Brien anyway. He was standing closest to the referee. And now we'll get back underway, and then we'll stop shortly again, because we haven't had the water break yet. We haven't had the water break. No, we haven't.
No, not in the second half.
Just wanted to be sure. Well, that was a delay that was longer than the water break, so you wonder, will it have an effect now? They didn't get to do what you get to do in the water break, which is get together and have a chat, but...
Yeah, it's surprising we haven't taken the water break. That's into the 19th minute now. It's unusual we haven't taken it.
Fitzgerald let it slip out of his hands. Tommy O'Neill took it back. Fitzgerald trapping O'Neill, but O'Neill getting a strike away anyway. Rowe tries to get there. Keane tries to control it, can't do so. Good stuff from Evan Hanley. Cuala burst forward. That's a brilliant dispossession of Oran McGarrett. But Cuala will get it back to Donal Lane. Lane just about keeps it in. Shane Murphy. Brian Fitzgerald couldn't make it stick. Might come back to him here. Fitzgerald and Byrne battling for it, but it is Blue who take it. Dodrell. Mark O'Neill fumbled it out over the line. And we will go to the water break. It got a little bit scrappy there for the last minute or so because we had such a long stoppage. 2-12 St Finbarr's, 13 points for Cuala. Owen, it would take a brave person to call this one, but since you are a fullback, that automatically makes you brave, so now you have to call it.
You'd have to go with Fionnbarra's Oisin. Cuala just struggling to get that deficit down below 5. Anytime they seem to get a score on the board, Fionnbarra seem to be able to respond. And that's without some key players. Fionnbarra's not in the game. So with 15 minutes left now, or it might be 10 plus a small bit of additional time, it'll take a big effort from Cuala to put some points up on the board.
Well, Cuala could do with a goal, but they have created a couple of chances, but they don't look overly threatening inside, do they?
No, and that's the worry, is that they're not really threatening on the goal. They haven't had much of a goal chance. Lars Sweetman in the goal hadn't had to make any saves that I can recall, really. So, unless there's a big change of tactic from the Cuala side, it'll be hard to envisage anything but a Fionnbarra's win.
We'd love to hear from you. You can get in contact via Twitter at @DubGAAOfficial. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, but Twitter is by far and away the most direct route. Since half time, it's neck and neck between these two. They've both scored 4 points. Cuala's points, by the way, have all been from frees. Brian Fitzgerald knocking them over. They've had a couple of missed chances as well. Di Felice with long range frees didn't quite land them. 3 wides from him. St Finbarr as well. Christopher O'Brien has scored 3 for them, 2 from frees since the half-time break. He received treatment but popped back up and got the free. Bit of a Lazarus-like recovery there. Referee has awarded a couple of frees for overcarrying since half-time. So here we go, the final quarter of the Senior B Hurling Championship final. That has to end today, so it could be the final quarter, I should say, because there will be extra time and penalties if required. And it is with the line ball we resume. Nisha Waldron, the Kilkenny man, looking for a nice patch of grass. Plenty of nice patches of grass on that Parnell Park pitch in the last wee while. Brian Fitzgerald takes it. He's being forced out. Does get the pass away. Or on McGarrett. McGarrett, who's also named on the Senior A bench, flicks it away, and Tommy O'Neill takes it.
No, good defender from Fionnbarr's there to keep disciplined and force the turnover. Just be disappointed with the distribution there.
Brilliant interception. Dylan Curley firing it down the pitch. It'll bounce kindly into the path of Carl Turner. Can Carl Turner turn that one in? No, he can't.
No, good first touch from Carl Turner, just sneaked wide, but Dylan Curley's had a good performance back there. He was up in the forwards the last day and is sitting back there playing as not an extra man, but just an extra defender there that's coming back and forth, and he's doing well. And here he's in the ball again.
Carl Turner coming off the bench. He is in his twilight years, I think, of senior hurling, but he'll add a real kind of benefit of experience to that front line. His dad actually was in the intermediate championship winning team of '83. Wide from Toomey.
They're the ones that need to go over for Cuala. There really isn't a lot of time left in this game, and if they're to start pulling this back, they need them points to go over.
And Dylan Curley is down injured.
Looked like he rolled his ankle there, Oisin. It can be quite a painful one, but he's up and well able to resume.
Well, he's okay. He's going again. Sweetman goes long. Dylan goes in to try and win it. Only been on the ball once or twice, but when he has been on the ball, he has caused issues. Fitzsimons. Ball slotted out to the wing, but he just couldn't quite control it. Christopher O'Brien.
No, and like you said, Charlie probably has been quiet by his standards, but from my count has touched the ball 3 times and got a goal and 2 frees from it. So 5 points to a game isn't a bad contribution.
It's not bad. And a lot of the work he does is unquantifiable. Like, he will always take a marker or 2 with him. That's a terrible line ball from Owen O'Callaghan. Donal Lane's brother Tiernan is in. Naomh Fionnbarra pouring numbers forward for this line ball. Mark O'Neill having a few practice swings. Gets plenty on that one. It will drop. It will cause issues. Well, he had to mind it there, Niall Keane, and if he got something on it, he was essentially kind of batting it back into trouble, but I think he did well. He knew that if he just shielded it, didn't let the Finnbarr's player win it cleanly, it was going to go wide, and we'll have to go again here.
Yeah, this is the third or fourth time this has happened, and I don't really see the need why the referee can't keep up with the game and let the ball go quickly from there. And quickly is an understatement there. It wasn't even that quick of a puck out, and he's having a word with them now because, like we said, this is the third or fourth time it's happened.
While you're watching around Dublin, you're also watching around the world. Can we get a shout out for Kev O'Shea and Patrick Street? Never missed a Cuala game in person and will be watching live with his gear and all on. Hashtag We Are Cuala. Glad to say hello to you. And I was speaking about people watching around the world, watching the hurling finals from Yonkers, New York, pulling for St. Finnbarra's in the first game as we hosted them for a training match when their under-16s were on a trip to New York about 10 years ago. Also pulling for our senior football team in the New York football final later today. A big day in New York, the Big Apple. A big day in Dublin's capital as well. 2 senior finals up for decision. Here's Toomey. Gets a much needed score for Cuala, his first, and the first since the water break.
Yeah, good score. Unfortunately, might be just too late for them, but good score from Toomey. Put his last one wide, so I'll be happy to rectify his mistake there.
Well, Joe Halloran, who's watching in New York, whose message we just read out there, that'll make him a bit more nervous because the gap is narrowed. 18 points plays 14 points. Christopher O'Brien crowded out, falls to a red jersey and fired away by Shane Murphy. Brian Fitzgerald, if he gets this and turns, Finnbarra's are in trouble. He's got a man inside. He'll pass it inside to McGarrett. Keeper does brilliantly well, but the free has been awarded to Cuala.
Really well done by Lars Sweetman there to get off his line and intercept, but didn't see what the free was for there. Maybe we might see it on the replay here.
Just a little trip perhaps, and the ref played advantage, a good advantage. Sweetman got across and prevented the danger. I think McGarrett felt that he still had a good chance of getting a goal, even though 2 or 3 players got back behind him. But
yeah, they probably count themselves. Look, they got that free now. I think it was pretty soft enough, but Cuala will take it and reduce the gap again. And if they can get a few more of these,
well, they'll probably concede the point here, but it could have been worse. Sweetman doing very well to avert the danger. Fitzgerald pops it over as you would expect. Tyke Stone, the subkeeper for St. Finnbarra's, has been playing a waiting game. He's biding his time by also serving as the club's PRO.
Sweetman's playing really well. He played very well in the semi-final as well, and is a big presence and voice back there, and a crucial interception at a crucial point in the game.
Anthony Costello, having contributed a goal and a point, has gone off. Cuala have dropped off that puck out, and Mark O'Neill has all the time in the world to fire it forward, but Cuala have plenty of numbers back there. Dylan gets it though, and Dylan, first of the second half for Dylan, and as you say, when he gets the ball he's dangerous. Yeah,
and that'll settle down Finnbarra's massively. They needed that point. I think you said there was the first of the last quarter, so badly needed for Finnbarra's.
Shane Stapleton, originally from Bursley in Tipperary. Two on two. That's a fantastic catch. Wonderful work from Carl Turner. It breaks kindly for the red jersey rather than the blue. There was a foul committed from Conor Carberry, and it's a free out.
Just think he pulled them back slightly, and rightly so, a free out.
Well, we're heading into the last minute, but we will have a good bit of injury time. De Felice, 19 points, plays 15. Toomey again. Got an important score a couple of minutes ago, trying to get off a shot there with Tiernan Lane, couldn't do so. Into the hand of Gary McCauley.
Great hook there by Rory McGrath. Really good hook that probably stopped a Cuala score, and they all count whether you're scoring them or defending them. It still means a point off the scoreboard.
Finnbarra's with a man down. That's Aaron Costello. He's okay now, he's up again. You mentioned Rory McGrath there, he's back from a bad knee injury, might well have started this game otherwise. Here's Nisha Waldron into the path of Ger Dodrell. But Dodrell is dispossessed, it's Brian Fitzgerald who hits it wide, and at this stage Cuala need to be nailing those. Granted, it wasn't an easy opportunity.
No, not at all. We've seen him score some of them in the past, but if you hear teams talking about shooting zones, and might have been better trying to work a score, and it's probably time Cuala start trying to create a goal chance here.
That's a fantastic and brave catch by Niall Keane, but he kind of pucked it into nowhere. Away it goes from Dodrell. They have the numbers in to win the ball. Glenn Dodrell that is, tried to run onto it. Shane Stapleton is there to sweep it up. It's a foul and a free out, which De Felice will come out with to strike and go long with. We're now into the territory where Cuala need to get a goal, because while there will be a good bit of injury time, it's hard to see them bridging the gap without getting a goal. 6 minutes. We've been told 6 minutes of injury time. Will it bounce kindly for McGarrett? It bounces more kindly for O'Neill.
6 minutes is a long time, but there has been a lot of stoppages there with a few yellow cards and things like that, so still time for Cuala to try sneak one here. And
since it's 6 minutes, maybe they can do it by just popping over points. They've got a free here. There's only 4 points in it. You could easily score 4 points in, well, 5 minutes now, because we're 1 minute into that 6 minutes of injury time, but if they keep running at the defence down through the middle like that, they will cause problems and may very well get that goal chance.
Yeah, there's been a lot of frees. I don't like being critical, but there's a lot of frees, and final spectators, players, everybody just wants a free-flowing game and a physical game. And again, wasn't a massive amount in that to warrant a free in. And Ger Dodrell after getting sent off there on the second yellow.
Well, that's a big loss for St. Finnbarr's. Can they see it out with 14? They've just brought in Josh Turner.
Oh, I didn't see what the second yellow for Ger was. It must have been something off the ball, but he's protesting his innocence down there.
Fitzgerald taps it over, and there's 3 between them, with 4 minutes of injury time to go. Probably a little bit more than that, because we've just had a stoppage within the 6 minutes allotted.
Yeah, Cuala have upped it a gear now in the last 5 or 6 minutes, and they've got a couple of frees and put them over. So Finnbarr's will need a score now to try settle themselves down.
Mark O'Neill, not for the first time, he's left completely free to take it off the keeper and go long. What do you do from St. Finnbarr's point of view? Do you try and pass it around, or do you go long? Or do you go for it from a long way out, as Dylan Curley has, but he hasn't caught it right? Trying to follow it in was Christopher O'Brien. He was being very cleverly held up there by Ono Callacon. The target is Oran McGarrett. Doesn't reach that target. Swept away by Dylan Curley. Dylan tries to get onto it. Free in for Cuala. Another one. Chop down, says the referee.
The Finnbarr's discipline has slacked now in the second half, and Cuala really getting a lot of frees.
The second half has been intense.
Definitely, yeah. Cuala have made a good comeback, and it's probably going to come down to the wire now, which we didn't see was 15 minutes ago. Cuala have made a strong effort at pulling this back.
Can Brian Fitzgerald make it a 2-point game? The answer is yes. And we still have more than 2.5 minutes of injury time to play, and keep in mind Finnbarr's are down to 14.
Yeah, Finnbarr's now should be trying to isolate Trollier on a wing and trying to play him into the game. That when he has got the ball, he's been clinical, and just need to bring him into that game a small bit more.
Well, he went to the edge of the D. They try and win it high up the park. Running onto it now is Turner, but he's after losing it. Evan Hanley can't get it into the hand. There's a scramble for it here. Now stealing away is Dylan Curley. Can't keep it on target.
No, and Trollier was just 10 yards in front of him looking for the ball. Probably should have. That's the 4th or 5th time now the ref has brought it back.
Nervy moments for all around Finnbarrs. Fantastic catch by Toomey. And this time he's done for charging.
Great catch by Toomey. He's had a great second half. Was it charging or a throw? I don't know, but harsh again.
It kind of
dropping the hurl, maybe. Swapped hands, maybe.
It could have been both because he kind of jumped into Dylan Curley and then he dropped the hurley.
A chance for Finnbarrs to settle themselves down now, and Sweetman, the goalkeeper's taking it. Quick.
Very clever. Ball to Glenn Dodrell. He'll have a look up and surely he'll have a pop. That's a big boost, Glenn Dodrell.
Really good score from Finnbarrs there to settle the nerves, and smart play. No panic of dropping the ball in at the edge of the square or trying to take a long shot. Really, really work score.
And now we're back to a 3-point game, so Cuala do need a goal. They do have time, but they don't have that much time. Can St Finnbarrs see this one home? They've given away the free. What do you do if you're Cuala here? Do you drop it in, or do you just slot it over and hope to score a goal on the next play? I'm sure they've asked the referee how much time they have.
Yeah, probably not much. Probably slightly more because the Jared Dodgell sent it off, but can't be more than 30 seconds, a minute left, and hard to know what to do with this one. Probably drop it around the house. It could be their last chance.
The 6 minutes are up, but as we say, we have had stoppages within that 6 minutes. A 3-point game. Fitzgerald with the free. He's nailed them all day, but this might be a case of just dropping it in.
There's no one in the Finnbarrs half of the pitch here.
Well, that answers our question on how much time they have. They've got the free out and they think that is enough. Fitzgerald had to drop it in, and I'm sure he asked the ref how much time they had, and the answer was probably not much.
No, and the Finnbarrs player down. I can't see who it is, but looks to be in a bit of bother there. I
think it might be Gary McCauley.
Seems to be a lot of other Finnbarrs players around him. Seem to be quite worried.
Let's hope he's okay. Well, no matter who wins or loses, the last thing we want to see is anyone get hurt. Gary McCauley. I'm not even quite sure what happened there.
No, it was just a bat as they contested the high ball coming in, but it has to be said it was a very clean game. There's been nothing malicious. I'm not sure what the Jared Dodgell sending off was about, but there hasn't been any dirty strokes or anything like that. Gary
McCauley, one of the older players, generally a midfielder. Fitness not an issue for him. He works in a gym. Sweetman. It's all over, and St Finnbarrs, for the first time since 2016, are the Dublin Senior B champions. They've beaten Cuala 2-14 to 17 points.
You can see how much it means to Mushy, and they're absolutely delighted down there, and fair play to them. They worked hard, ground out the victory, and a very, very welcome win after a long year of unsettling time. So really well done to Finnbarrs.
You can see what it means to Finnbarrs to win. You can also see how much it hurts to Cuala to lose. Their players, many of them down on the ground at the moment. There's a little bit of afters between one or two, and very cleverly Jack Toomey is guiding one of the players, one of his teammates away. That's off camera. We're looking at the Finnbarrs celebrations, and well, you can't say that they don't deserve it. Fantastic work from them, fantastic stuff from them.
Yeah, well deserved in the end. They led all game, and they probably had that 5-point margin for majority of the game since the first quarter. So deserved winners, and really, really good performances all along the way from a lot of key men. And Anthony Costello played really well. Trollier played well and it was clinical. And the two Dodgell brothers have been good all through here. So a really good team on the up in Cabra there.
Well, McCauley is still receiving some treatment. He really put his body on the line for his team. Sweetman, cool as you like, is walking up the pitch to join the celebration. The Finnbarrs goalkeeper, the centre of so much of what they did in a positive sense today, and I'm sure he's one of the guys who drives this team. He's been around a long, long time. They're in 2011, they're in 2016, and they're in 2020 when they've added another title in this most unusual of years. but success is success, and even though there's not a crowd here to see it, that doesn't mean there isn't a crowd witnessing it. And I know they can't be together, I know that they're watching separately in their homes and whatever, but it's still a big deal for the club, and it's still as sweet as any kind of title.
Absolutely, yeah. The big hurling community there in Cabra, and the football next week. So it's great success in for people like that they're such hurling people and sound, and it really means a lot to the underage community out there. So disappointing probably will be the biggest part that there's no promotion to Division 1 this year, that they would consider themselves a Division 1 team, and you want to be playing with the best. So, but they'll enjoy this one now while they can.
Well, some of the highlights of the second half that St Finnbarra's did enough in. Cuala threatened at times, but not quite enough. That was a big moment. Sweetman, the experienced goalkeeper, coming out and blocking it off from Oran McGarrett, who wanted the play to continue. The advantage had been coming, and the referee awarded the free. And while it was slotted over, in retrospect, Cuala really did need a goal. And it was goals that was the difference, and this man got one of them. Eamon Dillon didn't get on the ball a whole pile, but when he did damage. Cuala had a couple of chances. This is a gallop forward from Dara Toomey. Got it inside. Niall Keane running on. But they just couldn't create the goal chance they need. They did get the free again from that particular play. And Brian Fitzgerald played incredibly well. And the captain is Tommy O'Neill. He'll put the hand sanitizer on first. That's just yet another indicator of what kind of a strange season it has been since the water break, by the way. The second half of the second half, if you will. Cuala got 4 points, including 3 Brian Fitzgerald frees. There was 2 points between the teams with 3 minutes of injury time to play, but Ger Dodrell got sent off with 5 minutes to go on a second yellow. And well, they got 2 points since the water break, Finnbarra's, but that was enough. You can see one of them wrapped in a blue and white flag. As a Waterford man, I'll never say no to that. Granted, a different blue and white flag. Great to see Macaulay able to join the celebrations, having received a bit of treatment. Tommy O'Neill about to lift the trophy. Don't forget, coming up at 4:30, we'll have the Senior A final between Cuala and Ballyboden. There will be no double in hurling for Cuala, but it would still be quite an achievement if they were to win the Senior A final today and capture another title. They were champions last year. They're looking to go back to back. They're looking for an 8th title overall. But right now, this moment is about St Finnbarra's, who played incredibly well today. They've played incredibly well all season. You can see and perhaps hear what it means to them. And if you're a Finnbarra's person watching this and you wanted to be here today, well, we're sorry that you couldn't be here, but we're glad that you're enjoying this moment. We're glad that you've got a smile on your face. And Tommy O'Neill is building up the tension, isn't he? He's going to savour this moment. The players, his teammates will savour this moment. The club will savour this moment. The parish and the areas around Cabra will savour this moment. A real sporting hub of Dublin between St Finnbarra's, and you've got Bohemians around that territory as well, and you've got just so much going on, and great stuff going on as well in the new campus. That's Dublin, the old DIT. I can't remember the exact new name of it, but you know what I mean.
Grange Gorman, I think, is it?
Yeah. Well, we said that even if they weren't the best, they are the loudest. Today they're the best and the loudest, St Finnbarra's. I think it's TUD Dublin City Campus, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah. The old DIT in around that area. Anyway, a lot going on in that part of town. Speech being made. We can't pick it up from this side of the ground. It's quiet with no fans, but it's not that quiet. And they're applauding Cuala, and rightfully so, because these two went toe to toe today in quite a battle. No mic over on that side of the ground, but I think this is a case where pictures do tell you everything you need to know, and you can hear the applause, no doubt. Mick Sievers, the county board chairman, by the way, is just making his speech. Tommy O'Neill, the captain, beside him. Mick Sievers, I can hear it from here. He's saying congratulations to Cuala on a great game, and it was a good contest, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and there's been good performances all the way up to this final, and Fionnbarra's probably were the champions in the end. They had a good run up to now and a lot of key performances all over the pitch, so you can see how much it means to them over there. They're absolutely delighted, and rightly deservedly so.
It can still be a positive day for Cuala. It's one of those weird ones. If you're a member of the Senior B panel, you want the Senior A's to win, and no doubt you'll enjoy it because they do work together, they do train together. Tommy O'Neill to lift the trophy. St Finnbarr's are Senior B champions. 214 to 17 points the final score against Cuala. Cuala's work not done yet, but this is St Finnbarr's moment, and they do deserve it, and you can hear what it means to them. We will be back at 4:30 for the second game, the Senior A final. That's between Cuala and Ballyboden St Enda's. What a game that promises to be. Remember, if you want to say hello to someone watching, or you want us to say hello to you, no matter where you're watching around the world, we'd love to hear from you, and you can get us via Twitter at DubGAAOfficial. You'll also find us on Facebook and Instagram, but in truth, Twitter is the best place to see us. We don't have a microphone over there, so we can't hear Tommy O'Neill's speech, but you can imagine how it's going to go. St Finnbarr celebrate winning the Senior B title. Congratulations to them. Owen O'Donnell and I and the team will be back a little bit later for the Senior A final, but for the moment I'll leave you with the final score of the Senior B final. Naomh Fionnbarra, St Finnbarr's 214, Cuala 17 points. We'll be back in a while.